The legends are true. Overwhelming power.
Sauce of destiny.
Yes! The most legendary sauce has arrived as McDonald's transforms into the anime world of WickDonald's. The greatest flavors unite in all new savory chili McDonald's sauce to make your 10-piece Wick Nuggets, fries, and Sprite ultra-powerful. Unlock manga comics with every meal and sit down for a new anime short every week only at WickDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, go!
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last.
Hi, it's me, Anya, and welcome back to Cozy Room Podcast. Hey guys, it's Artie. Welcome back to Cozy Room.
Womb, girl.
Womb, girl.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cozy Room Podcast. My name is Shan. I am the mama of the girls, and today is going to be a touchy subject. So if you are used to listening to this podcast out loud on your speakers, this one right here, I suggest you go ahead and you get those headphones. You know what I'm saying? It's a very touchy subject. It might be triggering for some people, but I feel like at this point in time, with everything in the news and political and state law, it needs to be talked about, especially for our children's sake. Welcome to Cozy Room Podcast. So I'm not sure if who's listening was born here in the United States of America. There's nothing united about it. Everything's very separate, and people, group together with who they're comfortable with here. But this country was built on trafficking human beings, right? And it's so funny that we're still having discussions in law about human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking. And now the biggest thing that's brought to the forefront is child marriage. I really want to know, what is the infatuation with Americans' government and child marriage? Okay? Only 7 states banned underage marriage in this country. New Jersey in 2018, Delaware in 2018, Pennsylvania in 2020, Minnesota in 2020, Rhode Island in 2021, NYC in 2021, Massachusetts in 2022. But every other state is in the green light on child marriage. And very young, might I add. You know what I'm saying? Massachusetts, New Hampshire, for the longest, it was 12 years of age for girls where they can get married. 14 years of age for boys when they can get married. For Hawaii, 15 years old where you can get married. Missouri, I think is 14 years old where you can get married. Right now, in California, sunny, beautiful California, where most people cannot even afford to live, right? And what's so funny with California is they put so many restrictions on food labels. They put so many restrictions on glassware, plastics. This cannot be sold or used in California. Or let me tell you what chemicals is harmful that's in here. But it's okay for children to be married, as long as their parents sign off of it, their guardian signs off on it. In California right now, any child under 18 can be married with the consent of a parent in court. And so I feel like these state laws allow manipulation depending on what is the ideals behind certain groups of people who feel like, I should be able to marry a 12-year-old. I should be able to marry an 8-year-old. I should be able to marry this young child because they need their mind molded to be this way, because dealing with people my age is just impossible. They're not logical. They don't listen. So you want to basically groom a human being to do what you want. And that human being will be a child, because children are still developing and understanding who they are. An adult has made their mind up as an adult because they deserve to have a decision, an opinion about their bodies. And so when you really look into it, it's not that these people feel like adults their age is impossible. They don't want to deal with that. They want to mold someone from 7 years of coming out their parents' womb, 8 years of coming out their parents' womb, 12 years of coming out their parents' womb into being who they want as a mate, as a wife, as a husband. The youngest marriage in 2008 was Naud Ali. She was 10 years old. It was an arranged marriage by her dad to a 30-year-old man in Yemen, right? It wasn't in the United States. But just to fathom, like, you would marry off your daughter to a 30-year-old man. At 10, some women, some little girls don't even get their first cycle. And so I feel like when I see these groups that's against child trafficking and, we're going to find this child, and over 900 kids in foster care went missing in the Midwest, and it's just regular news. Let me tell you about the weather today. Are you crazy? Like, to think that you have all these people yaying and naying for certain laws for children to be married off, groomed by grown adults. And then at the same sense, today's laws that we're going to talk about include child trafficking, child pornography. We're going to yay or nay to this. How can you represent those two things? How can you say, oh, this is my coworker, and knowing they said yay to 12-year-old kids being allowed to be married to grown adults? How can you have a coworker knowing that they said yay to sending a doctor to prison for performing an abortion on a rape victim that is underage? Like, you can't talk about how these people sit in these law rooms and make these laws and then turn around and have a conversation about ethics. It doesn't make any sense. As a mom, it frustrates me. It makes me so angry. It makes me feel so like, how dare I, have children, and I don't even have the finances to figure out work enough where I'm 100% at home and I can homeschool my kids because that's safer. Even when you take your kids out to like a jumpy place, Sky Zone, Urban Air, Catch a Air, wherever, a play place, you really have to watch your kids in there too. It could be another parent. It could be a janitor. It could be a cashier that works there, in there doing things to your child, out in the open, in the bathroom. So your mind is never at peace if you're a great parent. Your mind is never at peace. Your mind is never at a calm. Because you're either preparing, performing, being present, on your way to, on your way from. It's exhausting. And it's exhausting to know that there are adults out here that's really fighting for the right to marry other people's children. Like, what is the infatuation with marrying children, having children with children? Kids need time to be kids. Whenever kids are forced to marry, that's basically state-sanctioned rape. And people signing off on that. How can a child defend themselves from a grown adult that's twice their size, twice their strength, know more knowledge than that child does? Imagine a grade school child possibly pregnant. All you should be worried about is if you have colored pencils for this class today. All you should be worried about is if you studied for the spelling test today and you're pregnant. How are we supposed to let's wake up and have normal lives knowing that this is a fight that's been consistent for years in this country, but at the same time, pay attention because there's a girl missing or there's a boy missing, or, this child was married off to a pastor that was 3 times their age. I feel like the lack of more education economically as a child aged, what can they do for themselves to protect themselves if they have no access to a bank account? They have no access to their medical plan or the comprehension to understand it. But yet you can have a child? You can't drink until you're 21 in some places, but you can have a child. You could buy a gun, but you can't go buy alcohol. You can sign on the line to get, vaccines for yourself at 11, but you can't make this decision. It's too over your head. What? You can't find logic where there is no logic. You cannot find logic in illogical people. It's like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. USC section 920B under state laws is most states that condone the idea of child marriage. To be honest, it allows an adult to engage in sexual activity with children. It allows sexual predators the option to force a child to marry them, probably after they already sexually abused them for years. The fact that Florida is trying to say we need rape victims to show proof that they were raped in order to be considered a rape victim. What? Why would a grown adult want a child as a partner? This is not 1920. This is not 1910. This is not 1814. There are people your age that you can go out on a date with, that you could court, that you could see if they're really interested. You do not have to be sourcing out your next mate on the playground, at school let out, at the skating ring. That's predator behavior. That's not normal. Stop trying to normalize this. That's not a sex preference. Your mind is sick. In 2012, Greece passed people who are attracted to children or have engaged or would like to engage in any type of sexual act with children as a disability. Hey guys, I hope that you're enjoying the show. This is Cozy Womb Podcast, and I just want to let you know that there is show merch. Where? Cozy Womb Shop with Teespring. And don't forget to check out the podcast books on lulu.com. Now back to the show. Thank you for tuning in to this one woman show, one woman podcast. My name is Shan, and I am the mom of the girls. And if you would like to know more about me and these podcasts, check out shanbpoddin.com and my TikTok.
Hey sis, if you don't like getting attention at the gym or while running errands, you might want to skip this ad. But if you're like me and love to be asked, where did you get those leggings? Or that hoodie is cute, where did you get it from? Well, then let me tell you about 1977 Hustle Lane. 1977 Hustle Lane is where fly gear and dope culture live. From your leggings to your tanks and of course to your hoodies, they will always have you feeling and looking your absolute best. So stop what you're doing and go check them out at www.1977hustlalane.com, on Facebook at 1977 Hustle Lane, or on Instagram at 1977 Hustle Lane. I promise you won't regret it.
Here we go.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
Now, I'm not saying it's something internal. It is. But a disability, I don't feel like it's a disability. I feel like it's just a decision you made up in your mind that this should be okay because you cannot control your urge. Okay? And I am one of those people who believe that people who molest, sexual assault, speak derogatory to children, purposely make them uncomfortable, look at them in a sexual manner. The fact that lollies is a porn category on public platforms where there are teenagers or young people who look like children, dress up like children, perform sexual acts, the fact that that is legal, it tells me that just like the fight against drugs is a lie, the fight against sex trafficking is a lie, the fight against, gun reform is a lie. They don't care about our schools being shot up and our children dying. They don't care. And a lot of them have said on camera in interviews, that's not my child. My child's at home. My child's homeschooled. Shrugs. It happens year after year after year. And Ari's dad and I had a conversation about the fact that both of us are gun owners, but he not for everybody being able to have a gun. And everybody doesn't need to have a gun, just like everybody doesn't need to be a parent. Everybody doesn't need to be a teacher because you don't like kids, you don't like teaching. You just know the knowledge of a subject really well. I don't need to be a doctor because I don't like touching blood or seeing people's organs or dealing with people that close up on a daily basis. I don't need to be a nurse because I don't like being needed. But there's a lot of people that step into positions to gain something financially, but have nothing to give emotionally, mentally, and of substance that somebody can positively grow from. You know how many miserable professors I've had where I know they didn't love teaching. They just knew the information. And because they were bullied growing up, they decided to become a professor that had the power to bully students that they just felt like they wanted to bully because they had the position. I control what grade you get. I know you did this assignment and you followed the directions, but I just don't feel like it's good enough. I feel like you can do better. That passive aggressive stuff, like, it's not random. It comes from people dealing with their own things, being raised a certain way, and now they get to be in a power to deal with other people, pick on other people. Kids who bully or get bullied become bullies as adults. Okay? pay attention. Pay attention to where you live. Pay attention to the laws that are on question on the table that they're discussing. Pay attention. There's no way for me right now that I would have kids and I would want them to be safe and I live in the state of Florida. There's no way for me right now that I would want my children to be safe and my girls to have options with their body and live in the state of Texas. There's no way I can wake up every day and say, I love my family. I want to protect them and live in the state of Mississippi. There's no way. There is no way I will be like, oh, I want the best for my children. I allow them to wear makeup. I allow them to wear short skirts. I allow them to be on TikTok, IG, and do what they want. And I trust them to come home and live in the state of California, knowing that a lot of people are grouping together trying to push the fact that being attracted to kids is a sex preference. Pay attention to where you live and what they're trying to do. A lot of people in government are 15 years ahead of where we are right now in decisions and choices that are lining up. 20 years ahead in decisions and choices that are lining up. Don't be a sitting duck. Have a boundary. Have a plan. If Georgia becomes one of those states that's just like, there will be none of this, absolutely not. Your child can make this decision on their body, and the legal marriage age here for a child is, let's say, 10. I'm out of here, though. I'm out of here. I have daughters. You know what I'm saying? I try so much to make sure that my children stay children in their child age. From infant to 14, they should be in their child essence. My thoughts, my belief, you know what I'm saying? And 15, 16, 17, I know the world is hitting them. I know I'm going to have to allow them to show me what I taught them. But I'm not trying to expose my child to a cell phone and the full internet at age 9 and 6. I'm not trying to let my children see what it is for a boy and a boy to give each other oral, or a girl and a girl to give each other oral, or vice versa, a man and a woman to give each other oral. That is not something children need to see at that age. When I had sex education, I was in the 6th grade. But I wasn't seeing anybody give someone head. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, let's watch this porno and we'll discuss thoughts ever. It wasn't that. There are grown adults that do not know that a woman's vagina has 3 holes. Grown women, grown men. So there's a lot to teach. But at the same time, while there's a lot to teach, there's a lot to know. And you can't sit in this country and be in a bubble and say, well, I'm not doing that. And my child is home and I have a sitter. And we don't discuss that, and we don't have TV, as if life is not going on outside. As if when you go to the grocery store, you won't see something that you did not address with your kids. Or if they go to the park, or if they're traveling to another country or state. It affects all of us. Indirectly and directly. If you look at any show or movie now, it's made up of a few ingredients. 1, violence. 2, lies. 3, love. And a reminder that love is going to, do you wrong. 4, LGBT in action. I have no problem with LGBT community, but every show that I watch, it has to be someone sexually engaging in an act of the LGBT. I have to see it. Just because sex is a thing doesn't mean every show has to have sex. Just because LGBT is a thing and they deserve to love who they love and show affection how they show affection, every show doesn't have to have it. But you see that constantly. Drugs, guns, murder, the dead coming back alive. A demon in someone's mom, a demon in somebody's dad, a demon in somebody's grandma. What is up? What's going on? So yeah, when it comes to this child marriage stuff, I am completely against it, of course. Shoot, I'm 35 and I am nowhere near ready for marriage. How is a 10-year-old ready for marriage? How is a 12-year-old ready for marriage? How is a 15-year-old ready for marriage? Let's start to be honest and call people what they are. Pedophiles, predators, sick. Stop trying to justify this like it's a normal thing. It's the way now. It's not the way now. But you have 30-year-olds, 40 years old, 50-year-olds, 60-year-old men and women that's just like, yay, in court settings and conferences. Yay for that. Nay for this. And whoever has an opposing thought, they want to remove from the room. I've seen so many political members sit on boards acting like 5-year-olds at lunchtime, being so rude and disgusting to each other. And I'm just like, these are the people that's making these laws and in Congress having decisions on what my life is going to be like, what my limits are going to be, how my kids could be treated. I'm not saying you have to love politics to understand, but I'm saying you need to know politics to understand. This government is coming for your children. This government is figuring out what can they do to limit the amount of children for your children's next generation. Pay attention. I am not for child marriage by no means at all. Pay attention to the state where you live in the United States and what they're doing and what they're planning. In schools, in healthcare, and legally with your children as far as civil courts and marriages and marriage license and allowances. Thank you for listening. I just needed to get that out because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. It's just wrong. It's wrong. Why is it even a conversation that needs to be had? It's wrong, period. Thank you for listening to Cozy Womb. And you can find me at shambypotting.com and other shows. If you would like to support the podcast, there's a link in the show notes, or you can always support through purchasing something at the Cozy Womb shop. Peace. Bye.
Bye.